Welcome one, welcome all to the Friday, March 24th, 2023 edition of the Overdrive Radio podcast. I'm Todd Dills, your host as usual, and we're looking ahead to next week's big beginning for the season of truck shows. The annual Mid-America Trucking Show Trade Convention at the Louisville Exposition Center in Kentucky kicks off Thursday, March the 30th. If you'll be there, plan to join Overdrive and owner-operator business services firm ATBS Friday, March 31st, for our annual Partners in Business seminar at 1:45 p.m. local time. That's in room B104 in the South Wing at the Convention Center, Matt's Pro Talks Theater. The Partners in Business session is part of a bevy of business-related programming the show is marshaled for the event this year, covering everything from health improvement over the road to double brokering and more. Catch a link to the full schedule in the show notes or in the post that houses today's podcast at overdriveonline.com/overdrive-radio. ATBS Vice President Mike Hosted will be joined on stage in Overdrive session by longtime contributor Gary Books. Books is retired from the road as of late 2019, but his long experience as an owner-operator informs ongoing work as a mentor and business coach to a big group of owner-operators he works with routinely at efforts to sharpen the saw, as it were, of their business processes. A lot of us today are, quote, making too many assumptions, end quote, about market conditions in particular, Buck said. We're responding emotionally to the gloom and doom headlines of the day and possibly missing areas in which, and operational adjustments with which, some owner-operator peers are having success. ATBS Vice President Mike Hosted will come armed with trend data to help illustrate some of those areas. On the bottom line among ATBS clients, owner-operator income did on average take a dive in 2022, yet averages are what they are. Not everyone took the 10% haircut with exploding costs and falling rates the average did last year. Look no farther than Overdrive's ongoing 2023 Trucker of the Year program for monthly examples of owner-operators who've set themselves up for success, even through exceedingly difficult business conditions. If that describes you or another owner you know, by all means get over to the nomination page and get in the running for the Trucker of the Year award. Stay tuned for a reveal of this month's Trucker of the Month semi-finalist next week. Gary Bucks relayed a conversation he had with an owner-operator relatively new to the business too, just this week. Nobody teaches us how to do this, that owner said, referencing the value he took from his work with Bucks, likewise drawing on the lessons learned from other experienced owner-operators. Some learned the hard way himself. On one hand, Gary noted, the owner's right. Yet, on the other, there's plenty in the way of self-help resources for those new to the business or looking to, again, sharpen that saw for better profits. Overdrive's annually updated Partners in Business manual, co-produced with the input of ATBS, is one such resource, certainly. And next week, with the Friday seminar, we'll be introducing the 2023 edition of the Owner-Operator Business Manual. Now a whopping 120-plus pages worth of information running all the way from the basics of business planning before startup to going independent, growing a small fleet, and prepping adequately for a comfortable retirement. The 2023 edition of the manual will be available to all readers next week. New this year to it are a bevy of updates, including a primer on avoiding and combating the huge rise in double brokering of the past few years. There's further resources on saving taxes and gaining business management dividends via the S-Corp tax filing structure for LLCs, updates on lending markets given the rise in borrowing costs for new and used equipment purchases of the last year, new strategies for how to approach fuel surcharges as an independent, and maximize efficiency whatever your operation given 2022's historic fuel price inflation. There's new ways to protect your business and personal data from wholesale identity theft running rampant, updates on planning and saving for retirement, and of course, much more. So stay tuned to overdriveonline.com/PIB for the new Partners in Business manual next week. And we hope to see you in Louisville. For the rest of this week's podcast, we're going to be handing off to trucker songwriter and longtime Overdrive contributing writer Haul Paul Marhoefer, dropping into his long interview with prime leased operator Bill Douglas for Tales from the Training Truck, as it were. That's right. Douglas is among those at Prime who's recently taken to the mentoring and training task, after an experience he won't soon forget with his own trainer. After the break,
the good, the bad, and the ugly
of training over the road.
Every diesel needs to defend against clogged injectors, low lubricity, and slipping fuel economy. The best defense is the best defender. House Diesel Defender with advanced IDX4 detergent. Get a deeper clean, maximum lubricity, and boosted fuel economy. Guaranteed. House Diesel Defender. Get optimal performance. House, for every diesel.
Find more about Diesel Defender at HOWES.houseproducts.com. If you'll be at the Mid-America Trucking Show, stop in and visit company reps at their booth, too. Number 14172 in the North Wing. If you can't be there and are a longtime user of Howe's anti-gel or other fuel treatments like Defender, send me an email at tdills@randallriley.com or leave a message on our podcast line with your experience with Howe's products. Include your name and shipping information too, and I'll send you a prize pack featuring a bottle of Defender as well as the company's alcohol-free Howell's multi-purpose penetrating oil. The number to call, 615-852-8530. Or again, email tdills@randallriley.com. Okay, handing off now to Paul Marhoefer. Here we go.
Truck show season is upon us, with the Mid-America Trucking Show set to commence on Thursday, March 30th. There will be the pageantry and the pomp, the polish and the shine, influencers, thought leaders, and micro-celebrities. Oh my. But you know what I look forward to the most? It's the war stories. It's the accounts you hear when you're waiting on a table to open up at a steakhouse, or maybe while tipping back a cool beverage or two. It's the unguarded things people tell you about their lives and work when they've had a few days to step away and decompress. Today's conversation is no exception. Bill Douglas is an old truck show friend of mine. We met at GATS back around 2016. Back then, Bill was just thinking about becoming a trucker. These days, he's a 6-year veteran of the Super Slab, training fresh new drivers for Prime. It was last year already when we went out to get that steak, and Bill gave me the lowdown on big fleet training, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I am a driver at Prime Inc. Haul reefer unit, OTR, just back and forth across the country.
And now, are you a company driver, or what do you do over there?
I am a lease operator. I pay a weekly fee, and I own my truck until they say I don't. I get a new truck every 3 years.
Do you stay under warranty all the time that way?
Warranty all the time. That's why they lease us up at the end of 3 years. It's right before warranty is run out, so you get a release a new truck.
Kind of keeps you hopping, I would imagine. I mean, you probably can't just take 2 weeks off just to find yourself, I wouldn't imagine.
As long as you have the truck payment, a weekly truck payment, you can take off as much time as you want. They don't care. I can pick where I choose where I want to go, or just have Prime, point me in the wind and send me wherever. So I call it roll of the dice. Let's just roll the dice, see where we go today.
Now, Bill, you mentioned something to me, and I thought it was quite interesting. You enjoy mentoring younger drivers and helping them learn, and you had a mentor that really meant a lot to you. Can you tell me about who this was and how that experience went?
Her name is Julie. Julie has been driving for over 30 years. She's been with Prime for over 20 years, and I met her through my wife, Ada Bell, and she brought me on, took me under her wing, and became my mentor. I call her my sister, my trucking sister. She calls me brother, and she says I was the best student she's ever had in training. She actually came out of retirement to train me, and it was the best thing I ever had. So now I take the knowledge that she instilled in me and give it up to everybody else. They want to learn from me or they don't want to learn. I love training. I really do. have the patience to do it. Some guys, it's hard to get them to focus, hard to get them to put the phone down, these younger drivers, and learn. Oh, this guy on YouTube said this. Well, you're not on YouTube. You're in my truck. You're going to do it my way, and it's the right way. Once you get your own truck, you can do what you want.
Now, I mean, so when you get a fresh trainee, like, I mean, is there a profile? I mean, how much experience do some of these drivers have?
Well, Prime has 2 phases in their training program. They have the PSD phase, which is Prime Student Driver. Those are non-CDL holders. They just have their permit. And then they have what they call a TNT phase. It's trainer and trainee. That's what I do. I get them where they've only got a few days of road drive and training pad, just getting the CDL, passing the test. So when I get them, I have to actually teach them how to drive a truck, because all they know is how to pass that test, and it's completely different than driving a truck.
So you're training these guys from the ground up.
Yes.
We were talking a while here at the Mid-America Trucking Show, and you said that if a trainee has a wreck, that's your financial responsibility. Now, how does that work?
Well, the way Prime has it set up is you take them onto your truck, and you're fully responsible for that trainee. You're supposed to be on top of that trainee through his whole training. So if he has an accident, that falls on you. That's you pay that deductible, and they basically get slapped on the hand. They get an additional 10,000 miles. They start out with 30,000. Once they get 30,000, you're eligible to upgrade to be on your own. So if they get a critical event like a hard brake, shifting the load, going into a turn too fast, and get a stability control turn, it all adds 10,000 miles. So to keep someone that has a hard time learning and gets those critical events and hits those trucks, it really takes a mental toll on you, and you have to be patient or just be able to look at them and say, hey, I don't think we're working out. Maybe it might be best for finding another trainer, or Prime has places in line that you can go to maybe find out what works and what doesn't work. But each student, it has his own learning ability. You just have to, basically figure out how they learn and go from there.
How many trainees have you had so far?
Right now, I'm on my 13th one.
Wow. And how long have you driven a truck total?
6 years.
Okay, so you're no rookie.
Oh, as far as most people understand, under 10 years, I'm still a rookie. But, when I started driving, I took to it. My grandfather was a truck driver, and, I just, about the first year or two, I knew this is what I was meant to do, and so I started training after 2 years. And Julie gave me her blessing and said, you're better than most drivers that's been driving for 6 years. And now I've been out here 6 years, and I've got guys that, other trainers that call me and, hey, I've got this problem with this trainee, can you help me out? And I mentor other trainers now, so I think it's came full circle, and I've done it in a short time.
So you're actually mentoring the trainers themselves?
Yes, the new guys that's only got, maybe a couple of years, 2 years under their belt, and they decided they wanted to train, and then they get a hold of this trainee that they have no clue how to train them. I can walk them through steps on how to assess their problems and how to work it out, backing up or getting into a dock, things like that. Putting the phone down mainly.
Is that so? Is that the main problem you see with young trainees? Is them handling the phone?
The young trainees, yes, it's getting them off the phone. When you're supposed to be sleeping for 10 hours, your 10-hour break, they're laying up there in the bunk on their phone for 5-6 hours. They get 2 or 3 hours of sleep and they want to try to drive. No, not my truck. That put your phone down. It's time to go to sleep. This is training. This is real world. You can hurt somebody. You can kill somebody if you don't have enough sleep to stay awake. You're driving an 80,000 ton truck, 80,000 pound truck, a 40-ton truck, and it's one of those things. Just put your phone down, pay attention. But that's what I see about the young generation.
What is your phone protocol in your truck? What are the rules about? Does this phone have to be mounted at all times?
Depending on the trainee, if I can't get one to put it down, then it's in the bunk at all times, unless he's off duty. The ones that I see that can handle it, it's mounted up front, but they can't be on it. They can see phone calls, they can see messages, but if they want to handle a phone call, they got to stop the truck. Then they can handle their phone call, but not under training. They're not able to answer a phone call when they're driving.
No incoming calls while you're driving as a trainee.
No, not in my truck. That's my rule.
Have you ever had to evict a driver from your truck mid-trip?
I actually have not. I've had trainees jump on me. One trainee I had a few months ago. I picked him up in Texas where he lived, down around San Antonio. We drove out to California. It took about 2 days to get over there. And we were due to have an appointment to deliver our load the next morning. And he gets on the phone, standing around outside his truck. He comes back to the truck and grabs his stuff and says, "I can't do this anymore," and he leaves. He just jumped off in California, and I picked him up in Texas.
Were there any warning signs?
There was no warning signs at all. He just, abandoned. I've heard other drivers, one driver told me that his trainee, while he was asleep, actually went into his wallet and got his credit card, rented got a bus ticket, and a lift, and went back home with the trainer's credit card.
There's been a lot of focus on training and mentoring. Even the current administration is trying to put more of an emphasis on mentoring to get more drivers in the workforce. And what I find interesting is this is something you actually have a passion for, or something you enjoy doing. And even though sometimes your trainees get in accidents, these are mostly small accidents, or are any of them ever serious?
Most of them are just small accidents. I mean, anytime we have to put a trainee in our truck without even knowing the person, basically just a phone interview, what you like, what you don't like, and just go from there. So you don't even know this person, and you're inviting them in your house.
One of my questions was, has training made you a better driver, and how?
Training has made me a better driver. Basically, trying to teach them in a way makes you focus more on what you're doing. Am I stopping correctly? Am I showing him how to drive the right way? And, makes you look at your habits that you've gained when nobody's watching over your shoulder. So that's one way. The other way is, it's a lot different to sit behind the wheel and drive the truck, and to get outside and drive the truck from the outside, telling him which way to turn the wheel to back in. So it's a lot different. Training is a lot different. Makes you think, outside the box instead of inside.
Yeah, because, after a while, a lot of what I do is just sort of intuition and muscle memory, and I don't really verbalize. So if you have to verbalize the actual performative act of driving a truck, I guess you would probably internalize it differently than just kind of, it's not second nature alone isn't enough, I guess. It would.
I still have second nature. Showing him how to do a maneuver, I just, without even thinking about it, I just do it. So you have to like stop and think about and tell them what you're doing before you do it. And it took me a while to practice it, but now I can do it secondhand. I mean, I can turn the trainer on and off at will now. I've been doing it for a little while. But yeah, I still, even when I'm not training, when he's back there sleeping, I'm just driving. I don't think about what I'm doing, or, just instinct takes over. But as soon as they get behind the wheel, you have to flip that trainer hat around. And now let's see how we can make them a better driver.
Now, like, what was the most difficult thing you ever went through as a trainer with a trainee?
The most difficult thing is them trying to take advantage of you. As far as, I do more things than what other trainers do. I'll buy them, something to drink or something to eat. We don't have to. I just do it because that's what my mentor did for me. So I just do it for them. But when I was asleep once, my trainee went into my wallet, got my card, and went inside and got something to eat. Well, when I woke up the next morning, I saw the charge and I was like, hey, what's this charge on my card? He was like, well, you've been buying me food. Well, that didn't mean you take advantage and just take my card whenever you wanted to. It's always a good thing to ask. That's the most difficult thing, is them trying to take advantage of you like that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a very fraught situation. You got two total strangers in the truck, but they do give you, I think you mentioned earlier that you were at least allowed to interview them, and then at that point you go with your gut instinct. Is that sort of how it works, or do you even have the agency to say, yeah, I don't think I want to train this person based on my interview?
No, we have the opportunity to say, I don't think this one's going to work. Let's try again. Let's move to the next. And once they're on your truck, you still have that thing. If it's not working out, you still have the option to say, hey, I don't think this is going to work out with him, and just move on from there. Go up management and see where it falls. If they need another trainer, or if it's time for them to go home. I personally have never had to cut one loose. I try to train them to the best of my ability. I'm very patient, very understanding, because I myself, when I first started training, I didn't think I was going to be able to back the truck. It took everything Julie had to train me to learn how to back this truck. I just couldn't place it in my mind. I've never backed a trailer before, whether it's a boat trailer or horse trailer. I've never done backing of anything other than just a 4-wheel drive car, and so it's once I got that down, once that light bulb clicked, and it took a long time for me to learn that, and now I can teach it. It's came full circle where it's just second nature now. But I know when they're struggling, I tell them my story to help them, just relax and listen to me, and we'll get it done.
So, I mean, it sounds like you just had this great experience with your first trainer, Julie, and she sort of set the standard that you're trying to uphold as a mentor and a trainer.
Exactly. She was an upstanding driver. She's been driving, like I said, for over 30 years, and my grandfather was a driver. So I just got this high standard that I'm not going to give up on someone until they give up on themselves. They're going to give up before I do.
That's really interesting, because I mean, I've talked to trainers who it seemed like almost at the drop of a hat will get rid of a trainee. And have you ever met trainers like that? Yes,
we have. I've met trainers like that. That's, Oh, he used my microwave, so I had to kick him off the truck. Well, my saying is in Spanish is mi casa su casa. My house is your house. And, I'm bringing you on. You can have refrigerator space. You can have microwave privileges, whatever you want. As long as you're on the truck and you're doing the job, it's your house. Like we're renting it. We're roommates.
Now, do you ever stay in contact with any of your former trainees?
I only have one that I stay in contact. The other ones, I have no idea where they went once they got off my truck.
Do you ever bump into any of your former trainees at the yard or at docks?
No, I never seen any of them. As far as I know, they're either not working for Prime or they, we've got so many trucks on the road, it's hard to see everybody.
I've sort of had that, I guess you might say, dream of maybe mentoring someone, and just to be able to take someone that's never actually driven before and train them from the ground up. But I think I would have to tighten up on some of my, habits a little bit. Who knows? Maybe mentoring will become more widespread among the general driver population, because it seems to be, do you find fulfillment in it?
I find a good fulfillment in it. My motto is, when we park at night, is the load safe? Is the truck safe? Are you safe? Is everybody else on the road safe because we didn't have an accident or, hurt anybody? Then it was a good day. Tomorrow's another day. Whatever happens, somebody telling you you're number one and giving you the bird or whatever, that doesn't matter. What matters is everything is safe at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's nothing like an incomplete peace sign that can ruin your actual peace, but you do have to be a bit thick-skinned about these things, don't you?
Yes, when I first started driving, I'll admit I was not ready to be a driver. I wasn't. I had to be broken down and built up to be a driver, because you can't hold your heart on your sleeve and be a driver out here, because they're gonna stab it and run away with it. It's so I want to say at least half of negativity out here in trucking industry nowadays. I'd like to at least make one person smile a day is my goal, and that's what we do out here. Just smiles with miles is what I try to say. And I really enjoy training. I really don't know. I've never really actually spoken to a trainee once they got off my truck. For whatever reason, they seem to just fade into the background. I'm more out one to stand out in the crowd and go to the truck shows and have fun. So, but yeah, overall, I've really enjoyed training, and I can't say that enough. I really enjoy it.
Here's a big thanks to Bill Douglas and our own Paul Marhoefer for the talk, and we're hopeful for much more in the next week. If you're going to be at Matt's this coming week, get in touch. We'd love to hear your story and meet in person. You can find us via the world-famous overdriveonline.com. Navigate to the Overdrive Radio section. Subscribe and leave us a rating or review wherever else you might be getting your podcast. We're on Spotify, of course, and Stitcher, Apple and Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and SoundCloud, and many more. As for Marhoefer, keep your ears open for his brand new Legends of the Lost Highway record in the coming weeks here on the podcast. You can pre-order the record via his website. That's longhaulpaulmusic.com. Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the support of Marhoefer, of course. The theme is Legend of the Snake Man by Marhoefer, featuring the guitar work of Travis, the Snake Man himself, Lamech, Terry Two Socks Richardson on bass, keys by Tishomingo, Jim Whitehead, and on drums, Mr. Andrew Marshall. The podcast is backed up further by Overdrive's own news editor, Matt Cole, social media coordinator, Holly Young, executive editor, Alex Lockey, and video editors, Lawson Rudisell and Mr. Andrew Glenn. Until next time, keep it broke. We'll see you at Beds.